If the network wasn't here, would we have a cardiologist right in Saskatoon? Would they have such easy accessibility to talk to the surgeons? It's provided us with
peace of mind.
I can't imagine if we didn't have all of those services, what would we rely on? You know, what would we do then? Like, you know, do we...
Or where we'd be.
The WCCHN is a group of cardiac programs across Western Canada who work in collaboration to ensure the best possible care for pediatric cardiac and cardiac surgical patients.
The 5 hospitals in the WCCHN network are the Winnipeg Children's Hospital, the Royal University Hospital in Saskatoon, the Alberta Children's Hospital in Calgary, Stollery Children's Hospital here in Edmonton, and of course the BC Children's Hospital in Vancouver.
Core functions of the WCCHN are really to coordinate care and integrate care for children with congenital heart disease. A big part of that is to have a single standard of care, so you have the same expectations of outcomes, whether you're a child from Saskatoon or Winnipeg or Vancouver or Calgary or Edmonton, or any of the provinces that are involved.
Prior to it, there were a variety of centers offering surgery. There were small volumes, and we know that big volume centers generally do better than small volume centers. So it's really been an ideal setup. It's allowed for fewer cardiac surgical centers to have higher volumes and better results, and still support top quality pediatric cardiology in these outlying centers.
I think the Western Canadian Children's Heart Network is a really fabulous organization. Coming here from Germany, I was really impressed about how well it works, that these wide distances, and as you may imagine, if you have a couple of doctors coming together, it's always a bit of a challenge to get everybody agree on things, and I think that works really fantastic here.
I worked for a period of years where we were sending patients out of province for surgery without the WCCHN. It meant relying on slower, more conventional modes of getting information back and forth. Often we would send a patient to a center with a package, but then we wouldn't know what decisions were made, and when the patient came back, then we would be struggling to pull together pieces of information to be able to carry on care, and that doesn't happen anymore with the patients going back and forth within the network.
Big centers like ours in the States, they don't know what happens to children when they leave. They don't have the follow-up. They just, you know, they come from all over, they go back to all over. They don't have the tight follow-up that we have because we have such a good relationship with our referring sources. So we actually can get better feedback on how the children are doing. We can adjust the way we treat them based on that better feedback. And I think it's really a model for how to run healthcare to get the very best results for children and the most efficient use of resources.
When I trained, we didn't have the best results at all times, and now we, as cardiologists, we have come to expect a 1% mortality, even in a tiny little newborn baby. So it's a totally different practice than it was 40 years ago.
All right, can I take a listen to your heart? Is that okay? Sounds better than my heart.
You're not in hospital. You're at home, between not doctors, not nurses, between a friend, their family. I can see in their eyes, I can see everybody of them, they can be as a father or as a mother to my son. And that's why I thank them again and again. And there is no limitation for my thankful to them.
The greatest privilege I have is that people have placed their trust in me to take care of the most important thing in their life, their child. That gives me enormous satisfaction, seeing that these people who often are completely at a loss when they're given the diagnosis can be helped through to take a child who is healthy and functional home and be be excited about the opportunities that that child has for the future.
What you do have to focus on is the value that you bring to the patients and their families, and focus on that rather than the things that go wrong. What happens to me within a clinic day is a fraction of what some of the families go through. So you do have to balance what happens at work with the rest of your life as well.
Fixing everything means closing this hole. We open up our heart, we close this hole.
How many of these do you do?
A lot.
A lot. I figured you would.
Half the job is fixing the heart, and the other half the job is taking care of the family, both before the operation and after the operation, to get them through these difficult times. You know, it certainly lends credibility to the job when they know that you're a parent too, and you're talking to them like a parent and not just like some highfalutin heart surgeon that did a fancy operation on their kid.
The most important thing about, again, to understand about pediatric cardiology and pediatric cardiac surgery is we deal with a huge variety of very complicated lesions, so that there is not really a cookie-cutter approach that's going to work. To some extent, every little heart is uniquely a challenge in its own way. Sure, there are situations which are very similar, but they're never going to be completely identical. Plus, we're often dealing with children who have a lot of associated problems. So a lot of our children, for instance, with heart disease may have Down syndrome. They may have DeGeorge syndrome. So there is a bigger picture on the pediatric patient that needs to be looked after.
The surgical video conference that we hold on a weekly basis is a fantastic example of how a individual patient's problem is looked at by a number of qualified specialists.
You've got nurses, doctors, technicians, surgeons working together, collaborating on patient care in a dedicated time frame every week where that is their sole focus.
Well, these conferences are very important to keep up to date with what is happening currently with the patients of every WCCHN site. It's just really the forum to hear about new patients and to plan the treatment for new patients.
I really love the Tuesdays rounds, because one is the patients who are going for surgery are discussed and everything cleared up. Then patients who need surgery get discussed too in the same session. So that way we can convey our decision to our patients immediately, and after following the Tuesday rounds, we call the families either Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning, let them know what our discussions were, and they're very happy to hear what we decided.
It's almost like getting 20-second opinions, right? Because 20 different cardiologists are reviewing that information and having the opportunity to provide their individual input.
Well, I think it's great that there's so many doctors that are available to talk about one case. You're not just dealing with one doctor in one place with one idea. You've got tons of doctors with tons of different ideas. And so you really get to figure out the best way that they're going to treat your baby.
I think it's very helpful for parents to know that there's multiple opinions and players involved in their care, that everybody's discussed this, we all agree upon a plan, and everybody's seen the images.
I mean, it's just amazing. You're getting opinions from the brightest minds in Canada, really, and we're all together in one room, everyone's hearing the information. I think it's one of the most important parts of our network in the WCCHN.
For Jace, he wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for this hospital, and we have had honestly nothing but the very, very best of care here. When we started this process, we said we were going to write a thank you card to every single exceptional healthcare worker that we had, and after 2 months we had to stop because it just seemed like everybody was giving us exceptional care.
Well, there's no question that one of the reasons this works is because doctors and nurses and social workers and administrators have been able to put their shoulder to this in a way that they all feel respected and have a contribution to make. And I think it's true, they all have made remarkable contributions.
Many parts of the globe can learn from the organization, the WCCHN, in terms of how to take care of children effectively and efficiently within a certain geographical space. And to me, that's what the WCCHN is about. It's about providing the most effective, efficient care for children in Western Canada.
I think that people want to be a part of our program, and our patients and our families are getting the direct benefit of having world-class clinicians at their disposal.
Having built a group of people who are delivering care now across, a population of 11 million and half the area of Canada, that's something which I think is unique. And the fact that we have, I believe, a collaborative group who cooperate to deliver the best care rather than compete to try and do more than somebody else did, I think that's the key to delivering the best possible care.